Okay, welcome to everyone here that's joined us in council chambers, as well as those that have joined us from home. This is a meeting of the Poquoson City Council for Monday, November 9th. And if we could all please rise, I'll lead you in the invocation and pledge allegiance. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and for the many blessings we have received in our city. Father, it does not go unnoticed by the council or our city that we celebrate a very important holiday this Wednesday. Veterans Day is important to our city, it's important to our country. Help us to all understand that those who give of themselves are amongst our most prized possessions, our most prized citizens. They never ceased to give. They never stopped giving since the time that they were veterans. To today, many of them stand with me here this evening. As always, we ask for a portion of your guidance as we deliberate the issues of this city, and we also ask that your presence be felt by those families in our city tonight who are grieving from the loss of loved ones. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have some special presentations this evening. I always love to do those. And our first one of these is a presentation from the Poquoson City Council to Ms. Lauren Osborne. What I would ask is if you join me there at the podium. I should say Mrs. Hey, you know, we in the city of Poquoson always talk about the quality of our education systems and the quality of our teachers. And we were so pleased when we heard the report that Mrs. Osborne had become the Regional 2 teacher, Virginia Teacher of the Year. It's quite an honor. It was from such a young teacher as well, that we were just thrilled, and Poquoson City Council said immediately, hey, we want to bring her in and congratulate her ourselves. So I'm going to read this special recognition, and then I'm going to let you speak if you would like. This is a special recognition of Lauren Elizabeth Osborne, Region 2 Virginia Teacher of the Year. And it reads, whereas Lauren Elizabeth Osborne, an English teacher at Poquoson High School, has received the most prestigious honor of being selected Region 2 Virginia Teacher of the Year. And whereas among her many educational accomplishments are graduating cum laude from James Madison University and earning a Bachelor's of Arts with a major in English and obtaining a Master of Arts in Teaching from James Madison University, and was the first to earn the National Board Certified Teacher while working in the Poquoson School Division. And whereas Lauren Elizabeth Osborne is recognized by the Poquoson School Division as being a dynamic English teacher who inspires students of all backgrounds and abilities to learn, therefore be it proclaimed by the Council of the City of Poquoson that Lauren Elizabeth Osborne is hereby recognized and commended for receiving this very special and prestigious honor, Region 2 Virginia Teacher of the Year, and for the role model that she is for the students and teachers of the Poquoson School Division. So thank you very much.
This will be incredibly quick, but I just want to thank you all for taking the time to recognize and just the immense support throughout Poquoson, the community, the students, the parents, the school board. I am incredibly lucky to work here, so thank you all so much. We're incredibly lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, next, we had a presentation to the police department this week, and though we've removed it, we thought it was going to be awarded here. I would like Chief Bowen to come up and just tell us what award you received.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Thank you for having me. The Click It or Ticket campaign is a high-visibility enforcement program designed to raise safety belt usage and save people from death and serious injury on the streets and highways. This program uses educational radio messages and stepped-up enforcement efforts by the police department to send a strong message that seat belts save lives. The Click It or Ticket campaign is currently used in 18 other states and the District of Columbia. In other Click It or Ticket campaigns, the occupant restraint usage rate the past year has increased by more than 10%, meaning that thousands of previously unbuckled drivers and passengers began using safety belts and child safety seats this past year. The campaign does consist of strict enforcement, strong educational messages in the form of ads on most radio stations, and numerous public appearances by officers on behalf of the program. Currently, in the most recent program, Virginia's statewide safety belt compliance rate is 77.3%. However, during the surveys conducted by the state and our local police department, our usage rate was 92% in the city of Poquoson, and we did receive an award for having the highest usage rate. It was given to the police department for our enforcement efforts. However, it also recognizes that we have citizens who are conscientious about safety issues, and they share in that award. So I congratulate our officers and our citizens on such a prestigious award.
Thank you very much, Chief. And now, one of my favorite times is introduction of new employees to the city. Randy, how would you like to proceed with this?
I'd like to call for Battalion Chief Young to bring forward and introduce to you our newest firefighter, Tavish O'Connor. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. I have the pleasure to introduce our newest employee to the fire department, Tavish O'Connor. He comes to us from the Toano area, has some history in that area with EMS, and we picked him up as a firefighter EMT. To date, he seems to be a very bright young man, very fast learner, and we have some high expectations for him.
Excellent. Tavish, welcome, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I graduated high school from James City County. I've been in the fire service my entire life, 10th generation firefighter overall. And I was a volunteer prior to this for 8 years, and I thank the city for the opportunity to come and serve this community.
Yeah, we welcome you, and again, we just love new talent, and it sounds like you're already making an impression. So thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to invite forward Catherine Tardabini, who is one of our two newest employees in the library. Come forward and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Kathy Tardabini, and it's actually my first official week. I finished today. So anyway, I'm a native of Hampton. I was born and raised there, and I have 3 daughters and have used the Poquoson Library for 20 plus years and just was ready to get back and really teach people what I've learned and love about the Poquoson Library.
Hey, thank you very much.
And we had one other new employee with the library. I don't see her, but if you're here, raise your hand. Rebecca Weimert. All right, didn't see. We'll get her next time, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is a section or the portion of the meeting for audience for visitors. I've had 8 folks sign up, so I'll call you in the order in which you signed up, and you're welcome to talk to us about any issue that you would like to. The first one is Karen Steele, and if you can come up and just state your address for the record, and then let us know what it is you want to talk about.
My name is Karen Steele. I live at 190 Little Florida Road. I'd rather be horsewhipped than speak before a large crowd. My frustration, however, with recent events concerning development of the Big Woods has overridden this fear. I am not opposed to development and realize it is a necessary fact of life. Progress happens, always has, and always will. I am grateful to live in a country where it is acceptable to voice your opinion. I will now address my 4 major issues and concerns. My first concern is the warp speed at which we seem to be developing Poquoson. Currently under construction are the fountains behind Langley Federal Credit Union, Village Park on Wythe Creek, Victory Cove off Emmaus, Drake's Landing off Hunts Neck, Firth Lane beside Poquoson Pharmacy, which combined will be a total of 94 additional housing units. This does not include the homes that are being privately built. Now let's add the legacy development. 238 single-family homes, 107 townhomes, 11 cottages, 200 apartments, for a total of 556 housing units. That is a grand total of 650 new housing units for Poquoson. The Fountains and Legacy combined will be 44,200 additional square feet of commercial space. This makes no sense to me, as we already have so many empty shops. My second concern is the CRES Walmart contract. I was taught at an early age you do not sign a contract without completely reading and understanding the document, to include especially the fine print. You do not sign any contract with blank spaces. This is a basic life lesson I was taught here in Poquoson, in school, and reinforced at home. The signing of this contract without the identity of the business entity, to me, is ludicrous. EDA members are not elected, so there's no accountability there. It has been stated by a city leader they doubted it would have been an uproar had the entity been a church or a Chick-fil-A. Well, if we're going to speculate, what if it had been a Clancy's Go-Go? It's not the business so much as the inability to exit this or any future agreement contract the public has issues with. Third issue, it's getting real old and irritating to be chastised at every meeting for not being here sooner. Since August, I have not only been to city council meetings, but EDA and planning commission meetings as well, as COP meetings. I am involved and plan to continue to be involved. There will be meetings I miss, but rest assured, any absence on my part will be unavoidable. I've been told Herman Howard rarely missed a meeting. Please consider me his replacement. I am grateful to the city employees and volunteers. My board blank application has been submitted. I am aware of at least 3 others recently submitted. Fourth and final issue is raises for city employees. Keep seeing on social media firefighters and police personnel deserve raises. Yes, they do. So do all other city employees. When this Walmart issue first came to light, it was stated we are in dire need of revenue. Schools are going to be in trouble with decreasing federal funds due to enrollment decline. Then at a later meeting, it was stated we are in such great shape we got a rating that will save us over $1 million. To me, this is contradictory. Yes, development is inevitable. However, I feel strongly we need to slow down and be a little more selective. I love Poquoson, like most of the people I know. Way I see it, there are 2 differing opinions on the Walmart issue. Heck, my own sister and I are on different sides of this fence. Point is, we all love Poquoson, want it to thrive, and yes, grow. I pray this adversarial us against them stuff will stop. I beg our city leaders to stop this CRES Walmart deal with every legal maneuver possible. Let us work together to enact ordinances that will prevent any future contracts for development that puts our beloved city in such a predicament. The Planning Department has drafted for review a fine example of such an ordinance. I commend and thank them for their efforts. I respectfully request council approve this ordinance. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, Alan Moody.
Alan, excuse me, Alan Moody, 207A Browns Neck Road. Thank you all again, and good evening. First, I want to say, seeing that the resolution for the no wake zone is on here, I look forward to hearing more about that. I'm glad to see that it's pushed forward. I think that's a positive for especially our low-lying citizens. I would like to say that the ordinance that is before y'all tonight to review, I believe is what it is, It's not for stopping any one development. I think too much has been said. We got to stop Walmart. We got to stop Walmart. Cress is the development. We all recognize that Walmart's coming. I think what this development has done is opened everyone's eyes. I think maybe some of y'all's too, and on the Planning Commission, that we had what I would call a loophole in our ordinances, allowing something to come in without the citizens' approval. I believe the ordinance before y'all tonight will, at the very least, allow the citizens to have a voice, as well as a Planning Commission and a City Council. No ordinance is going to be perfect. No ordinance is going to be 100% favorable to everyone. The important thing here is that the citizens deserve a voice, and I believe that this will give this to us. I hope that y'all will pass on favorable recommendations back to the Planning Commission, and also thank the Planning Commission and the city employees to put that together so quickly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I'll put my list back. Janice Powell.
Good evening. My name is Janice Powell, and I live at 306 Powhatan Drive. It was my understanding that the City Council sent a very specific directive to the Planning Commission a few weeks ago, asking them to draft a proposed amendment to the existing zoning ordinances, requiring any single-use retail development over 15,000 square feet to go through a conditional use permit. The Planning Commission discussed it at their regular meeting last week, but no action was taken by the Commission. I want to thank the city manager and the city staff who have put the draft ordinance in front of you that you see this evening for your discussion. During an online discussion forum over the weekend, though, one of the large shopping center property owners in town stated that it doesn't matter if this proposed ordinance doesn't go forward because it doesn't apply to the CRES Walmart development anyway, because the development is already vested. According to state code, a landowner's rights are deemed vested when the landowner obtains or is the beneficiary of what is called a significant affirmative government act. So, I have a couple of questions and hope that City Council, the city manager, or perhaps our city attorney can answer my questions tonight. These questions relate very specifically to the 5 parcels of land proposed for the CRES Walmart development, and specifically relate to the state code's definition of significant affirmative government acts. My first question is the landowner of these properties the city of Poquoson, the EDA, or CRES? We've been told it's the EDA. Has the city accepted proffers or proffered conditions which specify use related to a zoning ordinance? Has the city approved an application for a rezoning for a specific use or density? Now, keep in mind, this is just those 5 properties that are part of the CRES deal. Has the city granted a special exemption or special use permit? Has the city approved a variance? Has the city or the EDA approved a preliminary plat or site plan for the landowner's property, and has the applicant diligently pursued approval of the final plan within a reasonable period of time? Has the city approved a final site plan for the property? And lastly, has the city issued a written order or determination of a specific use or density of the property that is no longer subject to any appeal, change, modification, or reversal? Based on my personal research, my experience, and everything I have read, seen, and heard, there has been no significant affirmative government action on this property, and subsequently the development is not vested, which means this ordinance would apply. I'm asking for the Planning Commission and our City Council to direct the Planning Commission to take swift action on drafting the new zoning ordinance that's ahead of you, that is before you tonight, that the Planning Commission host 2 public meetings and present the ordinance to the City Council for you to then approve, and then the citizens of this city can rest easy knowing that you all have truly listened and that you have taken all the necessary steps to preserve the charm and character of a city without a Walmart. I trust the Planning Commission will follow your directive. I trust that as a city council, you will approve the new ordinance when it comes before you, and I trust that I will get an answer to my questions as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm having a hard time reading the next name on here, but it looks like Carol Garrison.
Yes, I'm Carol Garrison from 410 Shoreline in Hampton, Virginia. So I live on the back river, but the other side.
Yes, ma'am.
And the reason I'm here to speak to you today is I'm the lady who went in front of the Hampton City Council and proposed the wake zone ordinance. And I have a lot of friends who live on the Poquoson side, and they were very happy because they were having the same issue we were having. The police cannot block off all the roads, and they can't be out there giving people tickets because they're just too busy during flooding. But that doesn't stop the people who like to drive through and have fun and push water into their houses. And even when you tell them, you know, they don't seem to understand that they're doing tens of thousands of dollars of damage to your house. And it's getting more and more contentious. And I thought this was a good resolution since we can do it already for boats. I didn't see why we couldn't do it for cars. So I was very glad to see you all were agreeing to it because I'm really hoping that it will get passed when it goes to the legislature. And the other thing I wanted to say that I had also mentioned to Hampton was to consider having a sort of regional chemical collection, because when we have severe flooding and people's like gets paint cans and stuff that are rusting, they don't want to keep them around in their garage for 2 months, or, you know, and if you're lucky enough to have one of the cities having a collection, then you can take it there. But my fear is that people will pour stuff down the drains or throw it in the trash. Or I've been involved with water issues for 13 years, and so I watch the TMDLs, and I would hate for people to pour stuff in their yard if that thing gets in our water when we're trying so hard to get the TMDL credits. So thank you for considering this ordinance.
Excellent points. Thank you. Hey, Jana Andrews.
Hi, everybody. Thank you once again for hearing our comments tonight, and I wanted to give another big thank you to our city staff, who I think does an amazing job at what they do. I just had a couple points tonight. The first thing I wanted to say was that my statements and comments are mine alone. While I have found from input from people that many agree with the things I've said, which is great, or disagree with me, which is their right to do, none of my comments are intended to represent a group, nor would I hope that you would assume that anyone here or on social media is speaking for me, and that includes my husband. I would encourage all citizens to speak for themselves and email or come speak to City Council when they are concerned about an issue and not rely on others to do it for them. Hopefully you know from the number of emails you've gotten from me and the number of times I've spoken, I will express my opinions to you, and I will be clear about my position, and I won't rely on anybody else to do that for me. The second was specifically about something you said, Mayor Hunt, and I think your last directive. And you said something along the lines of the people on the board and commissions being qualified, and that we need to understand that they're citizens of the city just like us, and they aren't bad people or our enemy. I would say I agree with that statement. I've been a financial analyst for 30 years, and I'm very qualified at what I do. That doesn't mean that I haven't made mistakes or bad decisions in those 30 years. I'm human. And while there haven't been many of those, and they weren't that severe, my supervisors over the 30 years have definitely pointed out those mistakes to me when I have made them. It's what we call constructive criticism, which ultimately makes you better if you utilize it. And let me say, most times those criticisms aren't offered with a smile and a try better next time. They have expected that their words are listened to, that I learn from them, that I not make the same mistake again, and most times they're brutally honest and are offered with seriousness rather than a wink and a smile. The words have never been offered to me because the supervisor thought I was a bad person or that I wasn't qualified to do the job, but because they put me in that position, and as my supervisor, that's their job. So I have this little handout. It's an org chart for the city. And as you can see on that org chart, it looks like I and the other citizens are the CEOs of Poquoson. And we are the ones supervising from city council all the way down. So when I make comments or suggestions that someone in my organization has made a mistake or a bad decision, and I'm serious about it, and maybe sometimes stern, it's absolutely not because I think they are a bad person or they're not qualified. It's because I think they made a mistake doing their job and they're not perfect. And as CEO, it's my job to supervise and advise when that happens, just like it's your job as the mayor and city council to do those to all below you on that chart. It doesn't mean you're stepping in and doing their job for them. It means you're doing your job as their supervisor and making sure that those you appoint to positions are doing the job they were appointed to do. And as a citizen, it's my civic duty to make sure everyone running my city for me is doing what I feel they should. None of my comments are ever personal, Mr. Mayor. For me, it's all business. Also, there have been multiple comments at different meetings over the last 2 months, not just here, but other ones I've attended, where the words are said similar to, nice to see you here, but wish you were here 2 months ago, or wish you could have shown up sooner, or there aren't many people here tonight. If people aren't coming to meetings, but you want them to, then at some point they have to start coming. There has to be a change. So when we do show up, we kind of, I feel, I get a compliment, but it's followed by a criticism of, why didn't you show up sooner? Which sort of feels like being punished for showing up. And if I was watching at home, I would feel like I didn't count because I wasn't physically here. The fact is that you don't have the fact that you don't have a packed council room at meetings, in my opinion, is probably a good thing. It's perfectly normal when things are going the way your supervisor wants for him to not let you know anything is wrong, and when something is wrong, to show up in your office immediately when he finds that out. Well, this is a business and it's no different. So when your supervisors, us, the citizens, aren't showing up, it means for most of us, we think things are going okay. Don't take that as an expression that we don't care about our city or what's happening. Poquoson citizens care, but for tons of reasons I won't list, we can't always be fully engaged. I'm an empty nester now. I did not have the time, although I cared deeply to be here while I was raising my children. They were my priority, as they should have been. But I'm here now, and that should count, whether it's the first time I've come or the 100th time I've come, and be of equal importance. I sent 2 emails this morning that I'm sure you have received, so I won't reiterate what those say. But I would just say that I would like clarification on the CRES contract dates that I had a question about, and also the answer to the vested rights questions, and would, if you can forward my email to the city attorney so that maybe he could answer those questions for me, I'd appreciate it. I get that developers and property owners like Mr. Drummond and Mr. Brown don't want any ordinances put in place because it affects their pocketbook. I understand that. I'm a business person. But I'm a citizen, and I'm really not concerned about their pocketbook or their profit. I'm concerned about what's best for this city. And so my last point is that while the ordinance isn't exactly the one that the citizens asked for, I think it's a great ordinance, and I'd like to thank our city planning staff for coming up with it, and I would recommend that it be reprimanded to the Planning Commission for a public hearing at their December 7th meeting and passage by you, City Council, at your December 14th meeting. Even if it does end up being a day late and a dollar short for the CRES monstrosity development that they want to put at the gateway to our city. Thank you.
All right, I have Brad Drummond.
Good evening. I'm Bradford Drummond. Wife and I are owners of Tag Time Laser Tag. We're under contract for one of the properties in the Big Woods. And here tonight just to speak about the ordinance that's proposed, and would ask that the City Council consider adding a vehicle trigger to that ordinance. The vehicle or the ordinance is written to specific businesses, and although it doesn't apply to our business, Most and nearly all of the recommendations in the Institute of Transportation Engineers studies are based on traffic count, not based on business type or square footage, although they do use square footage for some of the things. Ranging from 100 directional trips per hour or varying around those things. Plus, the planning department is also working on other proposals, some based on traffic count, and to see all of the different things that the planning department is looking into before voting on one specific one. Also noting that some of the uses that are listed on there, like fitness centers, bowling alleys, skating rinks, swimming pools, are typically leisure activities that don't impact peak hours of the day. So, typically a lot of those are owned by small business owners. So to put those type of regulations on activities that typically wouldn't affect peak hours, and the other thing with those traffic studies are extremely expensive, as you all know. So and that's pretty much it. Just would like for that to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mark Andrews.
Good evening, and no, I didn't lie to you, Mr. Freeman. I got together with my brain trust, and she decided that it would be good if I came up here. Anyways, thank you all again. I really do appreciate all the work you guys have been doing and listening to the citizens. My name's Mark Andrews. I live at 7 Martha Court. I saw the proposed ordinance based on usage. I don't have an issue with that. It's not exactly what I wanted, but it's a giant step in the right direction. The whole purpose for the square footage was to have some mechanism that puts these larger projects before City Council and before the citizens, so that we don't have a by right use coming in and violating the comprehensive plan like this one out here does. And I will say that I am strongly of the opinion that it violates the comprehensive plan, if for no other reason than the comprehensive plan is very emphatic about the fact that Bigwood should not be developed until the improvements are made to Victory Boulevard, because Victory Boulevard cannot handle any additional usage. Outside of that, I went to the Planning Commission meeting. They kind of started on the right track. In my opinion, they got off task. They started talking about traffic impact being the focus. I think traffic impact is an important piece that can play in the city's future, but I don't think it should be arbitrarily thrown out there as an added expenditure to any development, regardless of size. Some of the smaller developments might generate 50 trips a day, but to have them do a traffic impact study that, from what I was listening to Monday night, it's kind of toothless in that it says, well, you're generating these trips, we need to mitigate the problem that you're causing with your traffic, but we don't know what kind of mitigation we're going to require, and quite frankly, we don't even know if we can enforce it. That's not the kind of ordinance we need to pass. If we're going to pass an ordinance, we need to make sure that it covers as many bases as it can, and it's fair all the way around. And again, I'm supporting the ordinance that's before you because I think it's the fairest thing that we all could have come up with between City Council, the citizens, and planning staff. So thank you very much.
Yep, thank you. And last is Betty Dean.
Betty Dean, 6 Riggins Court, Poquoson. This is beside the point. Judy has not changed one bit in all of these years. It's amazing, Judy. Anyway, my concerns are about the wetlands in Poquoson. Increased development across the watershed has made stormwater runoff the fastest growing source of pollution to the Chesapeake Bay. Builders often remove the natural barriers of forest and wetlands to make room for the impervious surfaces that encourage stormwater runoff. A very bad example of this occurred last month after we had the heavy rains, when the runoff from Ryan Victory Cove, which will contain 26 houses, turned the water between our lot and the development a muddy brown that lasts a long time. According to the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, stormwater runoff, non-point source pollution, can push excess sediment into rivers and streams. This sediment is just one of the ill effects of runoff. Excess nutrients are also a chief threat to water quality. After all the proposed housing units are built, how much nutrients and chemicals will be washed into our waterways? How can wetlands mitigation that is located in another county help the Poquoson water quality? After the developments are finished, how much impervious surface will there be? What will developers do to repair the damage to the impacted wetlands? Finally, does Poquoson really need more than 365 new housing units or Walmart? Will these projects truly have a positive effect on the economic development? There are already numerous businesses, empty businesses in town. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to close the audience for visitors and ask for approval of the minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the minutes of the regular session of October 26, 2015.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that we approve those minutes. Questions or comments of council? Seeing none, Judy?
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Councilman Bernal.
Aye.
Councilman Ayer.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Abstain.
And Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0 with one abstention.
Okay. First item under new business, and we have 5 items this evening, is a resolution endorsing the City of Hampton's legislative request for a no-wake zone on flooded streets. Randy, you want to highlight this, or is somebody else going to do the presentation?
I'm it. I told Mr. Bryant that he could stay in with his family this evening.
Very well.
Members of council, you know that every time we have a flood event, we are in debrief mode. And one of the pieces of feedback we got from our own staff and from members of our community and also from a neighboring community was increasing concern about the purposeful or careless creation of wakes in vehicles and flooded streets that were causing damage, either unintended or in some cases intended to structures. As we were and continue to work on what we can do to help address that problem beyond what we did with the last storm, it came to our attention. The Hampton City Council was discussing the idea that Ms. Garrison put forward. Thank you for the idea, by the way. And spoke with the city manager of Hampton, who said, yeah, this is something that we're really interested in, and it'd be great to work together. So what we were asking you to do is to authorize, approve a legislative position of the city, joining Hampton in requesting that our delegate and our senator, Delegate Helsel and Senator Norman, respectively, along with the expanded delegation from serving the city of Hampton, introduce legislation that would essentially make it a Class 4 misdemeanor to knowingly or acting in such a manner that would reasonably be anticipated to cause damage to adjacent structures by operating a vehicle, whether that vehicle be an automobile or a boat, on a flooded street. Class 4 misdemeanor is a fine up to $250. Correct, Chief? Remembering that correctly?
Which one?
Class 4 misdemeanor?
Fine about $250.
Right. This is only part of the messaging, but I think that having a clear statute that we can warn folks about and hopefully not have to write, but perhaps write, will help get the message across. This is about protecting people's property. And anyway, ask your endorsement of that this evening.
Tim? Is there a motion on this resolution?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt a resolution endorsing the City of Hampton's legislative request for an amendment to the state code to add a section entitled No Wake Zone on Flooded Streets.
Second. And this is a good place to say, Randy and I met with the city council, the mayor and city manager of the City of Hampton. We told them we thought this would not be any issue. As well, we talked to them that particular day about With Creek Road in particular as well. So in the maintenance of that until the improvements are made. So basically, well received by the City of Hampton, who continue to be great partners with us. So I absolutely have no issue endorsing those. Questions or comments of council?
I'm curious whether Newport News has had any problems with this and whether they're also endorsing this. Do we know?
Don't know what Newport News is doing. If you all endorse it this evening, then I begin tomorrow contacting my counterparts in Hampton Roads, seeing if we can, along with Mary Bunting and Hampton, interest more people in getting on board with this. I think this is a significant issue, not just in tidal communities, but really any place that is subject to storm flooding.
Yeah, though Newport News may not have as much tidal flooding, they definitely have rainwater flooding, and they suffer the same issues.
Okay.
I would suspect the south side would be quite interested in that too, because I know Portsmouth and Norfolk have had terrible problems with the same issue.
I think it's very well, it's something we need to put in place, and it gives the officer at the stop point some teeth to discourage. Okay, so, all right, anything else? If not, we have a motion made and seconded. Judy, please.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman?
Aye.
Councilman Bernal?
Aye.
Councilman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Ayer?
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford?
Aye.
And Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, the next item under new business is a resolution authorizing the sale of service handguns to certain police officers. This was, I'll actually introduce this. It was something that when we met with the police department the other day, we have many officers approaching retirement, and they would like the option of purchasing their handgun as part of their retirement package, and as a purchase, not a gift. And I think most everybody from council was there. We all heard the same thing, and it seems like a relatively easy thing for us to do, since that gun has been there to protect them. They feel like that's part of their person. So, and I certainly understand that. So is there a motion on this?
Mayor, I move that we adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of Poquoson, Virginia, authorizing the purchase of service handguns by certain sworn law enforcement officers.
Second. Motion made and seconded that we approve this resolution. Questions or comments? Not, Judy, please.
Councilman Ayer?
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford?
Aye.
Councilman Green?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilman Bernal?
Aye.
And Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay. Next item under new business is a resolution amending the city's 2012 Emergency Operations Plan. You want to just highlight the changes?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have had for many, many years productive relationships and beneficial ones with both York County, City of Hampton, and really all of our neighbors, close in and further out in Hampton Roads. What this amendment does is to formalize the working relationship that we've had since anyone can remember, by which at times pre-disaster, if we feel, particularly in anticipation of a very high wind event, that we need to pre-position, pre-stage some of our equipment and personnel outside the city, that we can do so in York County. We've been doing this for some time, but in our most recent FEMA review of our plan, they suggested that we formalize this. We do this in anticipation of times where there might be a significant number of trees down that we might be easier to cut into the city than to try to cut out. And that's what this is. So we're formalizing our continuing and very productive relationship with York County as it relates to emergency operations.
Okay. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt a resolution adopting the updated Emergency Operations Plan.
Motion made and seconded that we adopt this resolution, changing the formalizing the 2012 Emergency Operations Plan. Questions or comments? Seeing none, Judy, please.
Councilwoman Crawford.
Aye.
Councilman Ayer.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Vernal.
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
And Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, the next one is an endorsement of the legislative action to redefine the term "other children" as it relates to health insurance benefits.
I'd like to ask Teresa to come forward if I could, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you. What this is, brief history, back in February, we had to bid out the city's health insurance. We chose in that process the local choice. When we went to submit all the paperwork for the local choice, we found out 2 of our employees, their dependents, weren't considered dependents with the local choice. They were the grandparents, the grandchildren of the 2 employees. The employees have had their kids on the city's plan for years and years and years, since they've had custody
They
of them.
have custody of the children.
Yeah, they have joint, yes, they have joint custody, but sole physical custody.
Okay.
So, the local choice is governed by the administrative code and run by the Virginia Department of Resource Management, and they define that certain categories of dependents may not be covered, and one of those categories is grandchildren, unless they're considered other children. Other children, they define that as sole permanent custody. Our employees had joint custody with permanent physical custody.
Understand.
So what we're asking is for us to be able to change the code for the other children to be defined as having joint or sole custody, but physical, permanent sole custody. So that when they're living with them and making those decisions every day, that those employees are considered dependents.
Okay. Questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, Teresa. Is there a motion?
Is it just I don't see anything to make a motion on. Is it just a consensus?
Yes, if you have a consensus or a simple motion, the reason that we formally styled the first one is because we anticipated sending that out to other Hampton Roads jurisdictions, so we wanted to have a formal action which matched Hampton.
So how about a motion to endorse?
I'll move that we endorse the legislative action.
Second. Okay. Questions or comments? Seeing none, Judy, please.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Councilman Vernal.
Aye.
Councilman Ayer.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
And Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, last item under new business is a proposed zoning ordinance amendment. And, I apologize to council. I asked for this item to be included, and I didn't get a chance to talk to all of you before I did that. But seeing where the Planning Commission was heading the other night, I got a little concerned that they were trying to come up with something different and what I felt like was potentially not enforceable. I think they were getting too broad with traffic control and state and citywide studies. So I tried to rein that in and give them something specific while they continue to deliberate what they're talking about. So Randy, you want to kind of highlight?
I would be pleased to, sir. As council members will recall, 2 council meetings ago, at the end of the meeting, you had remanded for discussion and consideration to the Planning Commission potential amendment to the zoning ordinance that would establish a 15,000 square foot building threshold for requirement for a conditional use permit. And as Mr. Andrews referenced before, that seemed to be in the direction the Planning Commission was going. After their first work session, they held a second work session, and during that work session, the discussion shifted away from a conditional use permit requirement towards enhancements to the site plan review process and potential application of some new site plan requirements that could include community impact assessments, traffic assessments on a wide range of, well, really in all zoning districts for which something would qualify. Planning Commission continues that. That work session was last Monday evening, a week ago from tonight. At a discussion on Tuesday, Mr. Mayor, in which we briefed for you sort of that progress to date. You felt, and I'm not really speaking for you, so please, if I get it wrong, let me know, but you felt that in addition to the things the Planning Commission was considering, that it was also important that this be considered as well. So you asked staff to draft, and this is changes to the general commercial district. And essentially what it does is it lists a number of potentially significantly impacted uses and requires for those projects to move forward in the general commercial district, the conditional use permit would be required, and then a traffic study is defined here in the ordinance, be part of that process. And so we moved hastily to draft that at your direction. And should you approve that this evening, if you approve this, what this will do is formally remand, not a discussion, but actually this draft ordinance to the Planning Commission. So they will need to officially consider that. In your document and at your suggestion, the request is here that the Planning Commission consider that at the same time as any other amendments that they're considering, and that it be considered at the Commission's first available opportunity, which is, tell me if I'm wrong, Debbie, December the 7th. And so that, should you approve that, that's the course that this would be on, along with the other amendments being considered by the Planning Commission. They would be two separate public hearings, two separate sets of amendments.
Okay. So with that said, if we want to discuss it, we probably need a motion. And then if it fails for a lack of a motion, I'm okay with that as well. So is there a motion to move this forward?
I thought all we were doing was remanding it to the Planning Commission.
That's all the resolution is.
I move we remand this to the Planning Commission.
Okay, second.
Okay, motion made and seconded that we send these words down to the Planning Commission for consideration. And I'm going to follow up now that we have a motion on the table and say, you know, there were a lot of questions here. I'm not sure that there's a lot of answers to some of the questions of the citizens that when they talk about are they exempt or have they done enough to do that. That'll only be an opinion of our city attorney. It will be a decision that if it ever comes down would actually probably be challenged in court, whatever. So what we want to do is put in place something that sends at least a signal to the developer that this is yet another something else that they need to move through so that the citizens can have their say. As I said, I started to get concerned, and this is not by no means, and please make this clear, that this is by no means any thing that says from the mayor to the Planning Commission that I think they were heading the wrong direction. I just think that they were heading in a direction that's going to take a lot more time, and eventually they'll come out with a better answer than what we have before us. But in the meantime, we have a deadline looming, and I want to make sure that we have an instrument in place that allows us to make a decision based on what we feel about the development. And that's all this does. It sends it down to the Planning Commission. They may turn it down for all we know, or they may send it back unchanged. But that allows the process to work, and then we can make up our minds based on future meetings how to handle this particular ordinance as it's stated. And that's not to say that between now and then, obviously, City Council can modify the words. Okay, so certainly it was something that we rushed to do, but that rush was from my perspective, a need to say that we'll do this formally. Okay. So with that said, are there any other comments of council?
I've got a question. What is the difference in, I forget the word, sending it to planning commission and passing an ordinance, sending it? What's the difference?
I'll take a shot at that. Wayne, if I get it badly wrong, please correct me.
He's ready.
Asking them to consider something, asking them to discuss something, sets in place a process of discussion. That's all. By formally remanding a draft ordinance, they will be required to consider this and hold a public hearing on this ordinance. So this puts that in play. So if you want to, for future reference, if you want to remand something specific, if you want the planning commission to consider something specific, the way to do that is to draft the draft ordinance and send it to them specifically to hold public hearings and discussion on. The other was simply initiated a discussion which didn't necessarily take you to any one specific destination point.
Which is not something that.
Get that right, Counselor?
You got it exactly right.
For 7 years, I still have to ask.
And again, just so we're clear, I would never do this except for in the sake of time, okay? I prefer it coming the other way, okay? But for sake of time and to make sure that we can act on something within this calendar year, and knowing that they were going to probably deliberate their ideas for another couple weeks, and I am not discouraging them from doing exactly what they were doing, but give us a read on this one as well. So just make that clear.
That was going to be my next question, since I got the manager's answer. Is this just a time delay, or should we be a little stronger in our wording?
No, I don't think we can ask them to, you have to pass this.
Well, no, I wasn't meaning that, but you have to look at it, we could say.
Yes.
That's what we would have
it
said.
says. That's what it says.
If you could, Mr. Vice Mayor, I believe that the intent is to have it in a scheduled public hearing for December 7th.
Either way it goes.
Either way it goes. If you would like to be specific and ask them to hold out their first available opportunity on December 7th, there's no harm in that either. If you would like to put a date, either in the motion or I think that would be fine, if you felt it necessary.
I just like for them not to drag your feet, but sometimes if you want something bad, you may get it bad. So just as well they have time to look at it.
That's well said.
Yeah.
So I'd like them to make sure that they can install it if it's just bad. Because we're not even sure.
Right.
The pitfalls of it after putting it together, Tuesday?
It was the best ordinance we could craft in 2 weeks.
Okay.
I had some questions on it, just for the public's, the public at home who is still, I know a lot of people are trying to learn and it's a steep learning curve. I don't know whether Debbie wants to answer this, or Randy, you might be able to do it quickly too. Just define B1 versus B2 and give a general area of where they are. And general commercial maybe?
Sure. Debbie, why don't you come up and we'll tag team this one. But I'll let Debbie start because she keeps the map in her head. She's
Yes.
lived here a lot longer than I have.
She
But
has nightmares about it, I'm sure.
But I can do one of them.
Hold on, can you go ahead and draw that map on the wall? for me?
Okay, I can do that too. Give me one of those little Lego, the little, what do you call them? Erasable
But I
boards.
can do general commercial pretty well off the top of my head.
Okay.
General commercial is essentially the 6 EDA parcels and the parcels behind them, but not on With Creek Road. It's sort of it's shorter shape like that. And with the exception of one additional parcel, which is the Langley Credit Union, Federal Credit Union, Navy Federal Credit Union. Saying that right?
Correct.
Wrong.
Langley Federal.
Langley Credit Union spot, which is also general commercial.
That's pretty much all the general commercial in
That's
town.
it.
Okay.
Now, where B1 stops and B2 starts, I'm not as good on vision.
Okay. Well, B1 is kind of isolated. The areas that encompass the B1 are very small.
Okay.
Basically, starting at the city's entrance on With Creek Road, The area between Carriage Chapel and Woodhaven Drive, that area is all Zone B1.
Okay.
Then you move past the B1 zone, then you move into an R1 zone until you get to the widened section of Wood Creek Road, and that's beginning of the general commercial, B2's district. That extends up to approximately where the apartments are, and then it's all residential again. The B2 continues to branch out into the waterfront districts, meaning the Browns Neck Road marinas, the Rennes Road Marina, Messick Point, they're also Zone B2.
So B2 is largely with Creek Road corridor?
Yes, yes. And then there's some scattered B1 along Poquoson Avenue, such as where Riggins is, that block between Rennes Road and just past Odd Road, and then there's another block down where Sheffield's grocery store is.
Okay. So when we're talking about this particular ordinance, B2, we're talking largely about the Wood Creek corridor?
The ordinance that's before you this evening would only apply to the GC district, which is Victory Boulevard. It would not apply to B2 along with Creek Road.
This says B2. Oh, it says to the general commercial, which would, okay, all
Yeah.
uses permitted in the B2. So this is to affect the general commercial district, okay.
Yeah. Okay, do you need any
Okay.
magic more? You got it all? Thanks.
I've got it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, other questions or comments? Bud, you got anything? You good?
I'm good.
Anything down here? No. Okay. Judy, please.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman,
Aye.
Councilman Bernal,
Aye.
Councilman Green,
Aye.
Councilman Ayer,
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford,
Aye.
and Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, thank you very much. And then, let's see, comments of the city manager.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have anything this evening.
Very good. I like that.
I'll try to do that more often.
No, actually, normally all over it, but you and I have talked a lot this week. All right, council directives. We'll start down there with Councilman Bernal.
Well, I'd just like to add another congratulations to our Regional Teacher of the Year. That included the competition for that title included the top teachers from every school division, starting with Virginia Beach all the way up through Williamsburg. So it is a major recognition. I chaired a committee that did that many years ago, and there was wonderful teachers from every school division. So to have our teacher from Poquoson get that award, just fantastic. So this is certainly want to add that congratulations to her.
Thank you very much. Councilman Green.
Just one thing, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer a public thank you to our fire and rescue. While I was on the cruise last week, one of the members in our party became very ill. He was numb on his left side from head to toe, could not walk. It was his first cruise, and he spent the whole cruise either in the clinic on the ship or in the hospital at Bermuda. They ruled out stroke or heart attack, but which they would have immediately flown him to the closest place in the United States, which might not have been where he wanted to go, but the insurance company would only fly him to the closest place. But they determined it was not either of those, so put him back on the ship a couple hours before sailing home, knowing that his wife can't get him to the car to Hampton General where his doctors were going to meet him. So a call was made to Chief Holloway in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and without hesitation, he said, "We'll meet him at the dock, just tell us what time." They did. They were there exactly when they said they'd be there. They took him to Hampton General, and I just think it's great that Poquoson will do that. It's probably one of the few places that will do that, and I thank them very, very much.
Well said. Well said. Councilman Ayer?
Well, lots of things to echo on that. That's we certainly have a great crew, police, fire, and the whole 9 yards. Congratulations to Mr. Moore down there, a Coastal Virginia Magazine Award winner. So that's pretty good stuff. Right. And we're the second happiest city in Virginia. I'm not sure why we weren't the first, but
So it's the Walmart thing.
But anyway, that's pretty good stuff, too. And we got good company there as well, and that's something we're certainly proud of. I think we're the first happiest, but that's just my opinion, I'm a little biased. But that's all.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Southall.
Yes, first, I'd like to congratulate our new employees and welcome them aboard the city. We're really lucky and happy to have them. And I would like to, again, second the comments made to our Teacher of the Year. I think that's a super thing. And I would also like to thank everyone here and everyone watching at home, okay? As I've said on many occasions, some of this work is hard. And although there's been many different opinions about some of the work we've been doing in the past, there have been some very good comments that came out that made it better. And when we work together, we get a better product. And so I thank everyone here and everyone at home for participating in their city government.
Okay.
I echo all the comments that have been made. And I'd like to add that I think maybe the reason we came out on second is they used the wrong smiley face, that little yellow one that kind of looked like from you know where. But anyway, the store that shall not be named. I also wanted to congratulate the Poquoson High School, I guess it's the Drama Club, received the second place in the one-act play competition locally, so they're moving, or regionally, so they're moving on to, they're gonna have to go up to Fairfax County to compete. And I know this because my youngest one was in it, so we're gonna be making a trip in a few weeks. But I think they said that the last time Poquoson had moved on was in 1994 or something like that. So we're pretty proud of them. And they came in second place to, I don't even remember which high school, but they had about 80 people in, and it was a giant musical. And my son's, the Poquoson High School group had 6. So it was, them against a giant production. So it was a good show, and I'm pretty proud of them.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Wanted to remind everybody about the veteran ceremony out here in front of City Hall on the 11th, and it's at 11 p.m., 11th day, 11th month. Y'all know that. But right out here. Say again?
AM.
You said PM.
Oh, did I say PM? Okay. AM.
You'll be by yourself.
Sorry. 11 a.m.
You veterans,
Yeah, I know. Combat.
Y'all like to work through the night. The only thing, I don't have anything else to add, but we do have a notice in our packet today about the Poquoson Art League Holiday Gallery, and that's going to be going on from November 13th to December 13th. And where is that at? I'm trying to look on here.
Right down
It's all right here on City Hall. City Hall Avenue, right down here in the white building. So please support the local artists. So,
one more comment. I think the band is still selling fruit. Okay, and so you need some fruit. Look up the band on the internet and buy your fruit from the band.
Okay. If nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, y'all were really slow on this.
Second that one.
Judy, please, I'm not even going to ask them if they want to comment on it.
Councilman Ayer.
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford.
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilman Bernal.
Aye.
And Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Another exciting night. Another exciting night for me here.